Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on my Tuesday morning Bitcoin Basics Q&A. I've got a topic that we can talk about to get things rolling, and then I'll take your questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer everything that you've got for me today. So thanks again for joining me. Let's go over here, this browser for a minute. And oh, let me pop out chat so I can see who's here. I see Celtic Fan and Mr. Mackey are here already. That's cool. Welcome this morning. Mr. Mackey's hit the ground running with a question about his ledger, saying that it's still confirming. Let's take a look at that. The topic for today is hot wallets and cold wallets. So I kind of wanted to go into a little bit about what the difference is. You hear those terms a lot, and there's a little bit of overlap in the way that we describe wallets as to whether they would be hot or cold. So in other words, a hot wallet in most respects is what we would consider a custodial wallet, or a wallet that you don't really control the private keys. But there is a little bit of leeway with that definition, because we might call a desktop-based wallet a hot wallet too, because the private keys are stored on your computer and potentially exposed to the internet. Where a cold wallet is more the type of wallet where the private key is stored offline so that it's not connected to the internet at all. In that respect, you could use a desktop-based wallet as a cold wallet if you set things up properly. So if you had an offline computer, or a computer that's not connected to the internet, you could run your wallet on that computer and use that wallet only for signing transactions. And then on your internet controlled computer, you could have the watching part of the wallet, which monitors for transactions in and out. So, and then of course, my favorite would be the Ledger hardware-based wallet. I have the Ledger Nano X. They also make the Ledger Nano S, and those are considered cold wallets or hardware wallets. Cold and hardware are pretty similar. A hardware wallet is where the private keys are stored offline, right? They're never really exposed to the internet. Now, you do connect this device to your computer with a USB cable, but the private keys never leave the device. So, in effect, what's happening is only the transaction requests are coming into the device, and only the signed transactions are leaving the device. The private keys, which are those really long numbers that compose the control of a Bitcoin address, those are stored on this device and they never leave. So this is a pretty good example of a cold wallet. And there are many types of cold hardware wallets and many brands. There's TREZOR, there's Elipal, a lot of other brands out there that you can use to keep your cryptocurrency safe. So a cold wallet requires a little bit more investment of the end user in the technology, right? It's easy to use a hot wallet, right? If you have a Coinbase account, it's easy to set up, it's easy to buy Bitcoin, it's easy to sell Bitcoin, cash out, all from within your Coinbase wallet, but really you're not controlling the private keys in that respect. So if Coinbase were to go down or get hacked or seized by the government, you would lose access to your cryptocurrency. So let's tackle that question that Mr. Mackey has about transactions that in Ledger that don't appear to be confirmed all the way. So if we go to, let's go to one of my Bitcoin accounts. Let's look at this account. So in this account, I receive Bitcoin from Ledger generally. Every now and then I use it for other purposes. But when you receive a transaction, Generally, it's going to start with a little watch icon down in the corner. And maybe we can do a transaction and sort of illustrate that. And basically, it says that instead of, when you hover over, instead of saying confirmed, it says, what does it say? I guess it says unconfirmed or confirming or something of that nature. And then over time, it will eventually look like this and be totally confirmed. So why don't we quickly just go, before I get too deep into it, I'll head over to Binance US. There's a little bit of money in that account. I'll quickly buy a little bit of Bitcoin and just transfer it to the ledger so that we can look at that whole process and see where we can go with that. First, I want to log in, right? Am I logged in? Or am I logged in already? Oh, it looks like I'm already logged in. I was logged in earlier. Okay, so that's fine. Let's see. So what I want to do first is I'll buy some Bitcoin, right? So there's a little bit of Bitcoin in there already, so the Bitcoin wallet is at the top. Now, here's a good example of a bunch of hot wallets, right? They're separate entities which can be used to hold different cryptocurrencies, and they have money or cryptos can be transferred in and out of them, right? So in a sense, they're wallets, right? Because they have balance, right? They can you can put crypto in, you can pull crypto out, and you can even trade from within them. But you don't control the private keys, right? They're being maintained on your behalf by Binance, or in this case, Binance US. Let's go ahead and do that trade. I'm going to trade BTC for US dollar. There was a little bit of US dollar up there in my US dollar account. I'm going to go mark it so that it executes right away. We'll put 100 in there, and I'll shave a little bit off to cover that little trading fee. And now we should have balance. Let's go over here. Yeah, now the full balance should be in BTC. So what I want to do is withdraw that into my ledger so that we can witness that confirmation process. All right. So over here in my Ledger Live, which is my interface to my ledger, I've got my individual wallets, and these are cold wallets. All right. I've connected my ledger to the computer with a cable, and I'm going to go ahead and enter my PIN. Hope you guys don't mind me doing that. It's part of the drill here. It looks like I forgot to set up my secondary camera and for my close-ups of the ledger, which is kind of a shame. I was a little bit rushed this morning, but I'll do my best here to just kind of show you what I'm talking about. All right, so let's use my let's just use this native Segwit account. Yeah. All right, I'm going to do a receive. And I'll hit that. And now I need to open the Bitcoin app on my device. So I'm going to hit both buttons to do that. Now that I'm in the Bitcoin app, you'll notice that both of those items there are checked. And I can hit continue. And then I'll hit continue one more time. And then it wants me to verify the address that I see on my device with the, I know this is impossible for you guys to see. Oh, Lord. Let's try this. Yeah. All right. So you can see here that I have a Bitcoin address. It's showing on my device. This is a fail safe. And I just want to see that it matches the one on my screen. Right. And then I'm just going to move over one screen to the approve, and I'll hit both buttons. And now I'm ready to approve, or I've approved, pardon me. And where'd we go? Okay. Now that this address has been approved, this X appears. So sometimes you get stuck here where you can't close this window. It's waiting for you to approve on the device. And that can be a little bit confusing for some people. All right, so there's our address. We'll copy it. Let's go back over to our exchange. Let's paste in that address. Let's autofill to max. Not a lot, but enough for our purposes. I'm going to have to put in my two-factor. Let's see, my Google Authenticator. All right. And then we'll just wait a bit. Yeah, let me check that camera real quick. Well, let's go ahead and confirm this withdrawal before I'm just going to run over. Okay, so I should be getting an email here, which I just did, that wants me to confirm that withdrawal. And now I'm good to go. All right, and we can even go over here to withdrawal history for crypto and see that that withdrawal is now processing out. So give me 1 second. All right. We may or may not need that secondary camera, so I'll see. But it doesn't usually work when I've already launched my streaming software. I have to reboot the streaming software for that camera to mount up in my software. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here now is we're just going to hang loose and wait for that transaction to come in. And what we want to see is that confirming. So let me look, while we're waiting for that, let me delve a little deeper into Mr. Mackey's question. Also, the numbers of transactions in my ledger, don't know what to use sometimes, and can you change numbers during this transaction? The numbers of transaction in my ledger. Are you talking about the address, the receiving address? Because as you saw, I generated a new one, but it's possible to reuse old ones. So if you just want to send Bitcoin to an address in your ledger, so for example, let's say this address here, the one that we just used, I could take that Bitcoin address and copy it into my clipboard, and then it's still not here yet, and then just throw it in a text file. I didn't spell it right, of course. Probably still didn't. Oh, okay, I've already got a file with that location. I had another one. All right, so let's just so you can see. This is quick and dirty. There, I've saved that address in a document. You can put it in a Word document, whatever you want, and that address is reusable, right? I could reuse that address as often as I want if I wanted to send Bitcoin into this particular wallet, right? But you increase your privacy and security by going through that process that I did where I generated the new receiving address, right? Because Ledger will generate a brand new Bitcoin address every time you do this receive by clicking this little blue button. Now you can also hit receive, continue, don't have my device, and it'll just give me, I don't know if that's the same one it just did. All right, let me close that. I must have closed this too. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, you can see that it's just reusing that same address. So if you want to skip that verification process, like just do receive, continue, and don't have your device. And it'll just give you the last address that it generated. And you can do that if you want to. I'm not sure if that was what your question was. Okay, love your show. Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Can you change numbers during transactions? I'm not quite sure how to wrap my head around the question, but you can't really change the address once you've sent something. Well, we still haven't received that BTC. Hopefully we will during the live stream. Sometimes it takes a while on exchanges for withdrawals. All right, so while we're waiting on that, Gordy Boy, hello. Alex Howard, hello. Autumn Concilium, good morning. Jim Musselwhite, good morning. If you're, okay, so Jim asked if the Ledger X does not support your particular coin yet, is there a workaround? No. If they don't have an app that will allow you to store the private keys on your ledger, there's no workaround. If it's supported in the manager, but not in Ledger Live, then of course there's third-party wallet workarounds. But in the case of a coin that just does not have any support with Ledger, there's not much you can do about that. You're going to have to download the appropriate wallet for that coin. When coins are fairly new, they have pretty specific wallets until they sort of catch on, and then are more supported in other wallets, right? But usually when a coin first comes out, it has a very specific type of wallet that is built by the developers that made the coin where you can store it. How's it going? On crypto with Linnell. Hello. Gordy Boy, have you done a video on holding ERC tokens on Ledger? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Let me throw up a link to the latest video on ERC20 tokens on the Ledger. Okay. Is that an old one? No, that's fairly new. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple recent ones that you might want to check out that explain how to send ERC20 tokens to your ledger. It's actually really easy now. It used to be a little complicated because ERC20 tokens weren't supported in Ledger Live, but now they are. So in other words, I used to have to use MEW or MyEtherWallet to look at my ERC20 tokens, right? If I had an Ethereum account in my Ledger Live, I only saw the Ethereum. But now I've got tokens under here. So I can see tokens that I'm also holding in that same Ethereum wallet. And basically all you have to do to deposit coins in your to deposit ERC20 tokens is just to send them to the Ethereum address, right? And you can do that little shortcut with Ethereum too, because it never changes. The Ethereum address always stays the same. They don't generate new ones. So yeah, send your ERC20 tokens to your Ethereum wallet and they will magically appear as tokens. Oops. Yeah, just like that. Very easy to send and receive. So like if I were to receive the BAT, right, it's the same address as the Ethereum wallet, right? So I can hold multiple ERC20 tokens in that Ethereum wallet account, where they call them accounts in Ledger Live. Let's take a look down here and see if we got that Bitcoin. Okay, look, so we got our Bitcoin, right? And it says not confirmed, right? There's a little watch down here. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long it's been. Let's see, who asked Matt? Mr. Mackey, I don't know how long it's been since that you're still seeing this, but it does go away eventually. And I have sent Bitcoin out of my wallet while I still saw that. So it's not a deal breaker. Usually once it shows up in Ledger here, you can most likely send it, right? So let's try sending it to a different account, right? Let's do Bitcoin donation. What the heck? I'll do a receive there. All right, I'll generate an address. I'll confirm it on my device. I'll copy it into my clipboard. And let's go back over here to this guy and do a send to that address. We're just sending it from one wallet to another, but the idea here is that if it's still confirming, it shouldn't allow me to do that, but it will. All right, I'll just confirm on my device. Now this is where we get into the security of a hardware wallet. Basically, on the device is saying, okay, you're in control. You've got the buttons. You need to review the transaction. So I'm going to look at the amount. I know this is horrible, but I didn't set up my secondary camera. There's the address I'm sending to. There's the fees, and then I just hit accept and send. All right, and let's go back here. All right, and so the transaction sent out. And lo and behold, it didn't stop me, even though it says it's not confirmed. Interesting. So it's not a deal breaker if you see that, but it shouldn't stay there forever, right? Let's go back over to the donation. There, I just received. So I was able to move the Bitcoin out of the wallet. Now you may say to yourself, oh, well, it's all within your ledger, but not so. Right? Each ledger account controls a different Bitcoin wallet address, right? So blockchain-wise speaking, they're all different wallets. So I was able to move the Bitcoin out, even though Ledger said it wasn't quite confirmed yet, right? Who knows? But if it's stuck there and it always says not confirmed, I really have never experienced that, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Now, you might not be connected to the internet properly, right? So, cryptocurrency is advanced technology, but it relies on your computer and it relies on the internet. So that underlying technology has to be there. So we drop down into our normal troubleshooting mode, right? You use computers pretty much every day. When things glitch out, what do? Reboot the computer. See if things change, right? Reboot the computer. If that doesn't work, if you're not connecting, try rebooting your modem. Sometimes your modem glitches and you're not connected to the internet properly, right? Or you just pick up the phone and call your internet guys and they say, there's an outage right now, right? So you're going to have to wait for your internet. Or they might say, everything's fine. Why don't you reboot your modem, right? So normal troubleshooting applies even when we're dealing with cryptocurrency. So Mr. Mackey, maybe try your rebooting, resetting your modem, doing all that kind of stuff. Maybe that will fix this problem. And like I said, I don't know how long it's been like that. Because some people will say, hey, where's my Bitcoin? And then I'll ask them, well, how long has it been? They'll go, well, it's been 5 minutes. Where is it? And I'll say, well, you need to wait a little while. When you withdraw Bitcoin or you transfer it, sometimes it takes a while, depending on the situation, right? But if I say, how long has it been? And they say 3 days, I say, oh, okay, well, there's a problem, right? And we delve a little further. Okay. What happens if I've sent to a wrong, not existing address? Okay. That's a very good question. Jens Scheichenmicht. I'm not a very good pronouncer of names. But the question is, what happens if I send my Bitcoin to a wrong address, right? So what if I'm typing my Bitcoin address in and I do a typo? Well, the first fail-safe would be if somehow you make a typo and add an extra character or something like that, and it becomes an invalid address, right? Usually your wallet will say, hey, that's not a valid address, right? That's not going to work, and will stop you. Or let's say you try to send Bitcoin to an Ethereum address or something like that, it will say, that's not a correct address. But here's the scenario is that what if I actually manage to put in a valid address, but it's not mine, it's wrong, it's like a non-existent address? Well, that Bitcoin will be gone forever, basically. So if you accidentally send Bitcoin to a different address, one that you don't control, then it's gone, right, forever. So that's why I do these fail safes, and I do the cuts and the pastes so I'm not doing a typo, and I try to eyeball my addresses on both ends to make sure that I'm sending to the right address, right, that I haven't accidentally sent it to the wrong address. Because you're kind of working without a net when you're using cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, right? It relies on math and cryptography, but they're very unforgiving, right? They don't, they don't have helpful tech support people. Math, right? You do something wrong math-wise, then your calculations are incorrect, right? There's no help built into math and cryptography. Same thing. So if you send to a non-existent or a wrong address and it happens to be valid, then that Bitcoin will just head on its way and go. And the chances of you ever finding it would be similar to the chances of finding a grain of sand that you lost on a beach. And that's just a small real world example. But let's take it would be like trying to find a grain of sand that got randomly placed somewhere on a beach somewhere on Earth, and you have to sift through every single grain of sand on Earth looking for that grain of sand. It's impossible. Even if the grain of sand were marked somehow, maybe if you had a tracker on it. But that's kind of the way Bitcoin works. These numbers are so large that it's inconceivable the data set we're dealing with here, almost as close to the known atoms in the universe. All right. So yes, if you send it to the wrong address, it will be gone. You think most cold wallets are secure with no backdoors? Yeah, I do. I get a lot of people asking me about the ledger. We'll take the ledger as an example. They say, a lot of people will say, hey, Ledger is probably generating fake private keys, and they control those private keys. And then at some point in the future, they'll be able to suck everybody's Bitcoin out of all the ledgers in the world. Well, it sounds sort of reasonable, right? But it's not. And the reason why is that this device is tested by third parties, right? It's not like everybody just takes Ledger at their word. Not only is it tested by third party, it also is a member of several organizations. I'm not looking. I can't think of the word. The word's not coming to my mind. But types of protocols, right? Organizations that they get they're certified by these organizations, right, as being compliant with these protocols, right? So they have that compliance, and then they also have the third-party testing, and then they've got people from hackers, crackers, testers, whatever, that are tearing these little guys apart, trying to figure out how to break into them, right? So if Ledger was somehow not generating random private keys, it would be painfully obvious, right? So no backdoors in the Ledger, right? But that's an interesting point, because we had that recent revelation that there was a Swiss company that was selling encryption hardware type encryption devices to governments that was in fact owned by the CIA and the German intelligence agencies, right? And so it was not secure. There were backdoors built into that. So you have to be careful with that. Now, another way that we can ensure that there are no backdoors built in is the open source protocol. So we've got Bitcoin, which is open source. And then let's see if the Electrum, I'm pretty sure the Electrum wallet. Yeah. So the Electrum wallet is a Bitcoin wallet that you can use to send and receive Bitcoin, and it's a desktop-based wallet. I'll go ahead and open it up so you can take a look at it. Right, and so I download this guy from the internet, and I say, gee, what if there's a backdoor built into it? Well, there are thousands of people that are working on this code base. This is an open source code base. And if there were any backdoors built into it, it'd be plain to see, right? The code is out there for anyone to inspect, right? So backdoors cannot exist in open source code because there are too many people that are reviewing the code and making sure that it is operational. I had a friend of mine that kept arguing, and it was a valid argument, and he kept saying, well, if the code is available on the internet, if it's there for all to see, wouldn't hackers be able to, build backdoors into it or understand how to hack it? And I say, yeah, but it's the good guys are the ones that can actually commit the code, right? It's not like anybody can just build a backdoor and upload it, right? The code before it gets added to the code base is, vetted by the people that are in charge, the volunteers that are in charge of this open source project. So yes, maybe the hackers can see how the code works, but that doesn't really help you just to see it, right? It needs to be, you need to actually alter the code. Now, you might have a virus or malware that actually infects code that people might download from a different source. But if you keep your complete computer free of viruses with antivirus software, anti-malware software, and common sense, then those sort of things won't happen. All right, so even wallets made in China. Well, yeah, I don't know. It just depends on the type of wallet. You would hope that if a wallet that's built in China would also have that same vetting process, right? But it's hard to put your finger on that. If it's, say it's a brand new wallet that just came out and it's not been vigorously tested and it's not certified by third parties, then you might be a little wary of some new hardware thing that you've never heard of. But there are a lot of companies that I think, well, I'm not sure where TREZOR, I think TREZOR is Eastern European, and I know Ledger is French. I think Elipal might be an Asian company. But like I said, if they were sucking people's Bitcoins out, then they wouldn't be in business very long. And I don't know how long. I mean, the first instance of someone's coins disappearing would ruin all trust in the company. So I don't know how long they would plan on waiting to spring this. It's hard to say. Yeah, you can never be 100% sure about anything, really. But these organizations that verify these companies, that these standards organizations, and the third-party people that are actually testing these products, and the hackers and crackers that are actually trying to break into these products, are pretty good, testament to how secure the wallets are. Sam the Farm Man. Hi, I'm getting BTT and AMB in small amounts added to my Exodus. Are these airdrops from somewhere? Please, thank you. Yeah, BTT, I believe, is BitTorrent. And if you're holding Tron in your Exodus wallet, then you're probably getting Tron or BitTorrent airdrops, right? I'm not too sure about A and B, but yeah, the answer is yes. It's most likely an airdrop. It's pretty out of the. It'd be kind of weird that you would just be getting a coin from somebody randomly, right? The chances of that are like extremely low. Usually it's an airdrop associated with some coin that you have in the wallet. So I'm assuming you probably have some Tron in there for that BTT. Rex, so if I send, say, link to Ethereum address on Ledger, are you saying the link tokens will be visible and I could resend them back to an exchange? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Let's see. There, I've got some chain link in there right now. So even if the Ethereum wallet were empty, I'm sorry, if it just had Ethereum in it, well, even if it was a brand new empty Ethereum wallet, I could get the address and send some link in there, and it would go in there, and I could see it in Ledger Live. It would appear as a token within that Ethereum wallet. Now, you would need to have some Ethereum in there if you wanted to send the link back out, right? The Ethereum wallet works on gas, but it's basically just if you got to have an Ethereum balance to generate some gas. So if I were to say try to send this link out, let's see, give me an Ethereum address, any Ethereum address. Let's say I try to just send it to myself. All right, just as an example, I just want you to see the interface here. All right, it might just say, hey, that's the same address, or will it? Okay. All right, there. See there, it's going to charge me a little bit of gas. See, the network fee there is a small amount of Ethereum. So if the Ethereum wallet were completely empty, then I would not be able to send the link back to the exchange. So you require an Ethereum address. You need a little bit of Ethereum in there for your gas, not to deposit, but you would to withdraw it back to the exchange. Yes. Yeah. So any ERC20 token is basically just a sub-token of an Ethereum wallet. So you can easily send that Ethereum to the, I'm sorry, you can send any ERC20 token to an Ethereum wallet, and it will show up in your list of ERC20 tokens, and then you'd be able to send it back, providing that you have a little bit of Ethereum in the wallet to pay the gas, right? In some cases, just maybe $5 or $10 worth of Ethereum will do the trick, right? Just so you got a little bit in there. Sometimes you just need to disable all extensions from the Chrome browser. Yes. And if you're still using the Chrome-based apps, let's see here. So if you're still using these Chrome-based apps for your Ledger, I would upgrade to Ledger Live. I know if you're still using Windows 7 or Windows 8, whatever, I think you have to have Windows 10 to use Ledger Live. But Ledger Live is more robust, more secure, more feature-rich. Don't use these Chrome apps anymore. They're still around, but I would recommend against it. Upgrade to Ledger Live. And then also there are some Ledger fake Ledger Chrome extensions that will empty your wallet. So don't. It's probably better not to use Chrome at all when you're dealing with your Ledger, right? Just kind of keep Chrome closed and work from Ledger Live. Much more secure. Try to use Khyber Swap to change some ETH to another coin, and when I connect my Ledger X, I get so many addresses to choose from. What's that all about? It makes me confused. Can you help me? Yeah, Khyber Swap. Generally, you just need to use that main address, right? So I could add an Ethereum account here if I wanted to, and it would generate one of those new addresses, right, that you see when you're... let me get out of Bitcoin here. So there's a manual way to generate that empty Ethereum address from Ledger Live. And it's basically just going to choose one of those many addresses that are associated with an Ethereum account, right? I really don't get into that too much. There's no reason to be confused about it. It's scanning my device now for Ethereum addresses, and you're going to see that there are a couple of Ethereum addresses that it's going to find that I've already used. If it ever finishes. It takes a little while. Okay. Any day now. Okay, there's one. See, there's one that exists that I've used that I'm not using now. And then there's another one that I'm not using now. And then there's the one that's already in there, right? That one's dim. And then here's our new one. Let's just make it new. All right. And I'll deselect those. I hit this guy, add account, close. All right. And then now I have a new Ethereum address that I can use. But you don't have to spread your Ethereum around unless you have a need to, right? If you only have a little bit of Ethereum and some ERC20 tokens, just use the first address that pops up. Let's take another look at that from MEW. If we go to My Ether Wallet and choose Hardware and choose Ledger, we'll hit, they want me to, okay. Ugh. They want me to refresh my browser to get the latest version. Okay. All right. All right, so we're going to choose Ledger. I use the Ledger Live derivation path. And lo and behold, it does give me a bunch of crazy addresses, right? This one is 0. I've got all, and I can go all the way over here and get all kinds of addresses. That's entirely up to you. You don't have to use those other addresses if you don't want to. They're there if you have a need to spread your Ethereum around a little bit. So they're just, there's multiple addresses associated with an Ethereum private key, right? So if you have an Ethereum private key, then it can have multiple addresses. In that same way that Bitcoin can generate new receiving addresses, you have multiple Ethereum addresses associated with an Ethereum account. And if you wanted to, you could send, if you were withdrawing Ethereum, you could send it to a different account each time and then just kind of keep track of each address and, just know where all your Ethereum is at any given time, right? But it's much easier just to use, like in my case, this is the main one that I'm using right now, right? But there's no reason to be confused about it. They're just extra addresses. It's like you're in a post office box. And you could, if you didn't want to receive your mail at home, go to the post office and sign up for a P.O. box and receive mail there. And if you really wanted to be sneaky, you could order like 10 different P.O. boxes and send your mail to 10 different P.O. boxes. But they'd all be in that same post office, right? It's not really fooling that many people. But it's just part of the way that Ethereum addresses are managed and created. The underlying math part. You could ask VTOC why there's so many associated with one private key. But that's just the way Ethereum works. So just focus on one. Usually just use the one at the top if it's empty. If they're all empty, just use the first one that pops up. And then every time you go back into this, it'll still be the first one that pops up. I've moved some out, so I'm a little more advanced. But if you only need one Ethereum wallet to hold all your ERC20 tokens, just use the first one that pops up. Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. You can ignore all the other ones, right? I mean, this goes on quite a way. I don't know if it's infinite or not, but you can just generate multiple addresses. But there's no reason to, unless you've got some specific need to do that, right? Just use the first one that pops up, and when you enter the interface, just continue to use that same one, right? And it's pretty easy because I can see it's the one with the balance, right? The one that I want to use. All right. All right. A lot of questions this morning. That's great, guys. Do you hold any NEO? If yes, what do you think of the price of gas as it's going up? You think it could be a wise investment considering it would be required by the NEO ecosystem? I do not have any NEO. I think NEO is very similar to Ethereum in that it's a virtual machine, and it has sub tokens. It's its own ecosystem, sort of like EOS, which is another one. I'm not that crazy about either of those because they're Asian based, and so not that I have any problems with Asians in general, but they speak a different language and they code differently, right? I don't know if they code in Chinese or not. Most coding is done in English centric coding languages, but sometimes it's a little hard to deal with the process of how they do things, and their tech support can be a little tricky to deal with since there's that language barrier. So I found them a little difficult to use. So I kind of stick with the ones that I feel comfortable with. I'm not saying anything bad about Neo or EOS, although I did have some trouble getting the EOS wallet to work with my ledger, and that was one of the main reasons I decided to stop holding or messing around with EOS. But Neo, I'm sure I've heard a lot of good things about it. Probably a good project, probably a good investment if it catches on, right? So in the same sense that there's Ethereum is required for the gas, Neo is required for the gas that runs its network. And as more and more people adopt that technology, the people that are holding the original token are probably in a good position. All right. So great channel. Thanks. Good morning, Jens. Killer. Thank you. Killer Crypto Kelly. Good to have you. Autumn. Thank you. Football play. Coinbase Earn whitelist joined 4 months ago. Still not claimed my tokens. Still not claimed my tokens. I'm not sure what that means. Did you go through? Did you answer the questions? Right. So Coinbase Earn is a program where you can join Coinbase. And let me get myself signed in here. Oh, let's see. I'm going to hit verify there. All right, and so in Coinbase, they got this thing called Coinbase Earn. If I can find it. It's around here somewhere. Well, let's just Google it, since I'm already signed in. Right? All right, so you can earn cryptocurrency on Coinbase by taking these little tutorials, right? You can do the tutorial, and you can see that I've done these, right? And it says I have $40 remaining. The $40 they're talking about are if I can get friends to go through these tutorials. So those are referral earnings. But just see there, I earned $3 in Zcash. I thought I had finished BAT, ZRX. Basically what you do is you just go through a little tutorial where they show you a video and then they ask you some questions. And then when you're done, they're going to deposit those earned coins in your wallet. Now, you're not going to get rich doing this. You know, it's just a small amount, few bucks, maybe 10, 20, 30. Not bad. And then, but they get deposited in your account. So when you go to portfolio, you would see, hey, I got some BAT tokens in there, right? Oh, I got a little DAI in there, right? they will show up in your Coinbase account. So football play. Earned whitelist, joined 4 months ago, still not claimed my tokens. Coinbase Earn was still not claimed my tokens. Are you not able to claim them? I'm not quite sure I understand the question. Let's go to portfolio here. Where is... Okay, so I have a little bit of Bitcoin. That's nice. Have not received mail from Coinbase to claim tokens. Okay. I don't think you need mail from them. In other words, you aren't signed in. You haven't signed up for Coinbase yet. Are you in the U.S.? Are you somewhere else? Oh, I see. What you're saying is you're like, hey, I want to do it. Where? How come? You do have to wait for them to give you. Yeah, you get on a waiting list, right? Let's try that. Yeah, you do. I forgot about that. Yes. So when you start and you say, hey, I want to do it, they're like, I guess I'm okay to do it, but because I've done it before. But I do know that, like, sometimes there's a waiting list and you have to wait. And how long's it been? 4 months. Well, that's not right. Maybe you should try again. I don't know. I've never heard of that. You could contact them directly and just let them know that you're still waiting. Maybe go back in there and try again. But yeah, that sounds wrong. That sounds like a Coinbase issue there. Or you gave them the wrong email or something weird happened. Maybe try from a different computer. Use a different email address. Try that kind of stuff. See if you can get that straightened out. Because it works. So I don't know why they would never invite you if there was a waiting list. Because I've had it where it says you're on the list, but it's only a few days or week or so before they, invite you to go ahead. So I'm sorry to hear that, football play. Do you have to update your ledger once in a while if you have Bitcoin in it, or can you just leave it alone for years without using it? It's probably better. That's a good question, Manilu. It's probably a good idea to log in and connect your device and check the status, because they do have firmware updates. They do add features. If you've let's say you bought your ledger in 2017 and put some Bitcoin in there, and then now you want to get it out. When you connect that ledger to Ledger Live, it's going to tell you, oh, Ledger Live is out of date. You're going to need to update Ledger Live. Your firmware is out of date. You're going to have to update your firmware. You're going to have to go through all this stuff to keep the device up to, up and running and with the latest security and feature updates and all that other stuff. And so, but your Bitcoin will be safe, but it's probably it's going to be a little frustrating if you do wait several years down the road, and then when you try to connect your device, it's so out of date that it might be a hassle to get yourself all up to date and ready to go, right? It's always good to, it's just kind of like a car in a way, I would say. I'd compare it to that. I know it's a weird analogy, but let's say you've got like this muscle car and you just keep it in your garage and you never drive it. And then, like 7 years down the road, you want to take it to a car show or whatever and show it off. Well, the oil's like all coagulated because you haven't ran the car or anything. You may not be able to get the car to start. All the gas is evaporated. Now that's not an update issue, but that's just like a sitting around issue for too long. Then it's going to be a hassle to get the car up and running. So pretty much the same with the ledger. It requires maintenance, right? You want to keep it updated. You want to make sure it's working. Now, if, for example, that ledger after 7 years is just like so out of date that it won't work at all, right? No worries. You've got your 24-word recovery phrase. And let's say you've got 10 grand worth of Bitcoin or 100 grand worth of Bitcoin stored in that ledger. It's also stored in that recovery phrase, right? So let's say in 10 years, there's a brand new ledger that is compatible with the latest version of Windows 50 or whatever, and just buy a new one and then do a restore from your 24-word recovery phrase, and then you'll be okay, right? It'll be the latest firmware, it'll be the latest version of the ledger, it'll be the latest version of the software when you download it. So the ledger itself would probably be a good idea to keep it updated, make sure you're okay, but no worries if you've got your recovery phrase, because the recovery phrase can be used to restore to any newer device. If for whatever reason the old device conks out on you and is so out of date that you can't get the firmware updated or whatever that the case may be, you can just buy yourself a new one for $79 to get access to your 100 grand worth of BTC, right? The Bitcoin is always safe because of that 24-word recovery phrase. That's an industry standard BIP39 compatible 24-word recovery phrase. So as long as you have that, no worries at all. But to just keep that device up to date is probably smart. I was having trouble syncing my Cardano testnet wallet, but since the new upload of the weekend, it's all okay. It's syncing. I think Cardano is a great project with lots of good things to come. Thanks for that, Gordy boy, because I've been having trouble syncing mine too. I don't know why, but I had a testnet wallet and it would never sync, and I reinstalled the wallet and it's still not connecting to the network. I know my Cardano is fine. I earned some testnet Cardano, and I'm glad that there's an update now for those that are interested. If you say it was just this weekend, then let's head over to Cardano incentivized testnet. Right, so they've got some new wallets out there, right? Which is good. All right, it looks like the same wallet to me, but I'll try it. I'll see what happens. Yeah. Unless I'm like on an old site. Reward wallets now available. Okay. Yeah, this looks the same, but I'll try it out. There's always a few glitches in technology, right? That's for us Cardano lovers. Only signed up for Binance and came across your live feed. Any advice for a total newbie? Thanks, Dave. My advice is to invest a little bit in the Bitcoin wallet technology, right? Now, we talked about Electrum Wallet, which is free. You can download an Electrum Wallet and install it on your computer, and then this is what it looks like. You could put Bitcoin in there and learn to hold Bitcoin in your own wallet. That would be my advice to you. Now, you don't have to move it all. Let's say, for example, that you bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and you're holding it on Binance and you're happy and you're secure. It's a good platform. Everything's great. I would suggest maybe moving some of it into your own wallet just to get your feet wet. Now, my ultimate recommendation, like I said, Electrum is totally free. You don't have to invest any money in it at all. Just install it and run it on your computer, and you can work with maybe $10, $20, $30 worth of Bitcoin. Just move it out, move it back, just play around with it. Follow my live streams. Check my channel out if you want. I got a lot of videos on how to use the ledger. That would be my ultimate recommendation. Very safe and secure way to store your cryptocurrency. Go out and buy yourself a hardware wallet and learn how to use that. And maybe just start with small amounts until you feel comfortable. And then once you've got your sea legs and you feel more comfortable, then maybe think about storing more of your cryptocurrency in your own wallet, right? Because that's the ultimate ownership of Bitcoin is when you're storing it in your own wallet. Binance is great, Coinbase is great, but they are custodians, just like banks, right? If a bank goes belly up, then there's a line around the block to the ATM machine, then you're kind of screwed as far as getting a hold of your money. So if the internet goes down, if the government seizes the money because you owe back taxes or child support or whatever, right? They can't come and take your Bitcoin if you got it in your own wallet, right? And let's say Binance or Coinbase gets hacked and they're temporarily down for like 24 hours or 48 hours, and you really want to sell your Bitcoin, right? Because the price is skyrocketing. A lot of people are those day trader types. Better to have the coins in your own wallet, because then you're not depending on anybody but yourself, right? I know you're depending on this thing a little bit, but once you've downloaded that 24-word recovery phrase, you're golden, right? This thing could get crushed, lost, smashed, drowned, burnt. You'd be fine as long as you got that 24-word recovery phrase in a safe place. Maybe keep it in a safe, keep a second copy in a safety deposit box, have one at your mom's house in her attic or whatever. Just have that backup phrase and you're golden. You'll never lose your coins as long as you have that backup phrase. So this is a pretty good device, and I would just suggest playing around with Bitcoin. Put it in your own wallet. See how that goes. Ken is saying that he likes Trezor. I've got some Trezors. I don't usually store a lot of my cryptos in my Trezor. Just for my own sanity. I try to keep it centralized. If I had half in Ledger and half in Trezor, then I would constantly be having to, check the Trezor and then check the Ledger. So I tend to keep the bulk of my crypto in my Ledger, but I do have some videos on Trezor, and I occasionally play around with Trezor during the live streams and this stream, and they are very easy to use. I like them. They have some good features over the Ledger in usability. All right, but I'm just familiar and comfortable with Ledger. All right, so another good investment, Trezor. Crypto tax recording website. Let's see. I think this one. Cointracker.com or cointracker.io is a pretty decent website for tracking your taxes and your capital gains taxes. Because whenever you buy and sell cryptocurrency, if you swap it for one for the other, that's a taxable event. And they're usually small. I mean, people get all uptight about this. They go, oh, isn't that a taxable event? It is, but they're usually pretty small. So when you're just swapping one token for another, right away, the difference in price is negligible. So you're going to have a small profit or loss on that transaction. So it's not a huge thing to worry about. Now, if you've been holding Bitcoin for a few months and it's doubled in value, and then you use it to buy Ethereum, then you would, that's a taxable event. When you sold that Bitcoin, you sold it for profit. So you want to make sure that you log all of that. So CoinTracker is pretty good. You can connect it to your accounts. You can connect it to your Coinbase. You can connect it to your Binance US, and it will keep track of all your transactions and actually print you out that tax form for capital gains declarations, right? So it's pretty good. It has its limitations, and there are others out there. I think there's Bitcoin taxes. I think it's Bitcoin tax, crypto trader tax, TaxBit, Bitcoin tax. Right? There's Bitcoin taxes, which is another way of tracking your transactions. And let's say you like to use your own wallet and you withdraw to your own wallet, you can add those wallet addresses to your into these accounts so that it will be clear that you're not selling the Bitcoin, you're just transferring it to yourself, right? You've made, that's not taxable, right? If I just transfer Bitcoin from my exchange to my own wallet, that's not a taxable event. That's just a transfer of assets, right? I've just moved them. So you don't get taxed on that. But you would want to keep track of that so that you can prove that, right? You can prove, hey, I didn't sell that Bitcoin. I just put it in my own wallet. So there's no taxes. If you just send it out somewhere and you don't to one of your own wallets, but your wallet is not in the system, it will just assume you sold it, right? It'll just treat that as a sale. So you don't want that, right? You want your cryptocurrency accounts and you want your wallet accounts and addresses all in this ecosystem here so that it can keep track of all your assets, all right? And your sales. Hey, XRP agent is here. I'll show you. XRP agent, good friend. Let's see here. There he is. XRP agent joined the discussion. Good to have you here. You're always streaming. I see you live. I do have, okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up. I'm about done here. But Monolu is asking me if I have any ledger recovery videos, and yes, I do. So we can just go over here to ledger. Also, you can do like the CryptoDad. All right, so here's how to restore a Ledger Nano S from your 24-word recovery phrase, how to restore a Ledger Nano X using your 24-word recovery phrase. All right, so there. So like just Google CryptoDad Ledger Recovery and you'll find all kinds of help out there. Like I said, I've been doing this for coming up on 3 years. And I've got well over 300 videos and a lot of good step-by-step tutorials on whatever ails you, right? So check it out. Your BAT rewards will stay in your wallet for as long as you keep them in there. Now, if you have auto contribute on, then they're going to get paid out. Let's see here. If you've got auto contribute on, they're going to get paid out to sites that you visit on a regular basis, right? So I'm auto contributing to these websites. Now I can turn that off, right? I don't have to auto contribute. And then I'm in the Brave rewards. I've got it enabled and I'll receive Brave rewards, right? So I can turn that off if I don't want them, right? I can just use the browser if I want to. Or I could turn off the ads, right? If I don't want to see the ads, then I don't have to. But I won't earn any BAT if I do that. So if I turn on ads and turn off auto contribute, then there won't be any BAT going out. You'll just be accumulating it over the long haul. But let me just point this out, guys. You're not really going to get rich earning BAT. I mean, it's a fun concept, but it's only like $5 a month. A little bit of pocket change. And if you've been using it for several months, you know, you could buy yourself something. But, and I know someone in the live stream on Friday said they were running their computer 24/7 with the Brave browser open and they were earning like $15 a month. But yeah, it's not like get rich quick scheme or everything. It's an ecosystem, right? The idea is that you're supporting content creators by auto contributing and you're getting rewarded in Brave, right? By viewing ads, right? So the advertisers are paying you to watch their ads rather than the other way around where you're getting spammed with ads that you don't want because, you know, you're third party like Facebook and whatever are buying ads that they want you to see, right? You know, you're getting ads pushed upon you. Brave is a different ecosystem, right? It's a new paradigm where you're getting paid to watch ads. You should get paid to watch ads, right? Anyway, that's it for today, guys. The last question I'll answer is Zach. He's asking me about Bitcoin on the Cash app. It's a good way to buy Bitcoin. Quick, easy. Let me see if I can just show you real quick. I'll share my phone with you guys. Hopefully that's going to work for us, right? All right, so if you go to Cash app, they have a feature. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay. All right. So it's got a lot of rich features in it. And now it's stuck. I'm trying to get it up here. Okay, there we go. So down there at the bottom, that little squiggly line is where you can buy Bitcoin. You see over there, it's at the top, it says stocks and Bitcoin. So you can buy Bitcoin directly in the Cash app. Fees are pretty low. And then once you have the Bitcoin in your Cash app, you can transfer it to your own wallet. So let's see if you can see Bitcoin here. Let's hear timeline, right? So in my timeline, you can see that I've put Bitcoin in, I've deposited Bitcoin, and I've sent it to my bank, which is pretty cool. It's an easy way to cash out of Bitcoin. What you're talking about is maybe buying $30 worth of Bitcoin a week, which is totally cool, easy to do. And then once you're done, let's see, I should have some withdrawal there. I got a Bitcoin withdrawal down there, right? I withdrew Bitcoin to my own wallet, right? So you can withdraw Bitcoin, you can buy Bitcoin, you can send it to your own wallet. Pretty easy, quick way to buy Bitcoin. A little cheaper than Coinbase, I do believe, all right? And it's pretty easy. You can do it all from your phone. So we'll talk more about Cash app and buying Bitcoin and not. I hope you guys enjoyed everything today. I got to get back to work. I do have a real job. So thanks for joining me. And don't forget, every Friday, I've got that live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the live Q&A from Michigan, where I go for an hour and a half, answer questions. We talk about Bitcoin, the market, cryptocurrency news in general, and I hope to see you there. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon.